beautiful Ocean Shores, Washington. Okay, here we go. Oops, are we going here? Let's see, I gotta get in reverse here. Operator error. All right, we're starting out our first kind of, actually not our first, but a little bit of a shakedown cruise today to Ocean Shores from our home in Seattle. It's about 120 miles each way. There'll be one charging stop and just kind of a shakedown cruise getting ready for our long trip to Key West that we're going to be planning later on in the spring. We'll be taking you with us. Welcome to the EVatrics channel. I'm Dan and this is my wife Carol. Today we're joined by our favorite friend Regie, and we're all going to have a great trip. Just a couple things. When we first got the car, Carol, like most normal people, had some range anxiety. How are you feeling about that now, Carol?
I'm feeling pretty good about it after driving the car for a little while.
Done a few stops. This is our brand new 2022 Ioniq5, and it's got a lot of looks because it's a new model and not many people have seen it in person. The other day I was sitting at having a burrito during a lunch break, and a kid came up on his bicycle and wanted to know if he could take pictures of it because he'd never seen one in real life. So it's kind of good.
I don't think burrito was the most important part of that story.
Maybe not for you, but I enjoyed it. Anyway, so join us for this trip. We'll be doing some filming along the way, and we'll get some beach shots. And if we stop and charge, we'll, which we definitely will stop and charge somewhere along the way. We'll have a little talk down after that. So the whole point of this channel is to make people comfortable with traveling in electric vehicles. So, whoops, something went flying in the back there. So, sit back and enjoy the video, and we'll pick it up a little bit later.
I have a question.
What?
We talked about this is a shakedown trip, and then after we're driving, then there's a talk down. Is down the thing that you add to each word now?
Yes.
There'll be a drive down and a charge down.
And a talk down.
And a talk down. I want to show everybody my Valentine's present.
Oh, the
I got an Ioniq5 sweatshirt on Valentine's Day.
And if anybody else is looking for that, I found it on Pinterest. It's not available at the Hyundai. At the Hyundai, we've had a big conversation about how to actually pronounce Hyundai, which is closest to Sunday as far as the Korean pronunciation. So
It's sort of the American pronunciation.
So we're going with Hyundai, the Hyundai Ioniq5. So we'll pick you up a little later in the trip. Where's my phone? Thank you, Reggie.
Yes.
So this is a very long tunnel. It's almost 2 miles long. Goes underneath the downtown Seattle. So we are going to come out of the tunnel here in a second, and we're going to emerge right at the two stadiums, the one for football and the one for baseball. And there, T-Mobile. And you can't see the football stadium because that's actually over there.
And we're entering Edgar Martinez Way, aren't we?
Yeah.
And Edgar Martinez Drive.
Right. Andre Roux, who's that? Roger Waters?
Why is it doing that? Roger Waters is from Pink Floyd.
Because I forgot to put my hands on the wheel. Didn't have my hands on the wheel.
There's Tacoma.
Oh, American Car Museum. I'll have to go there the next time.
Oh, the American
Oh,
Car Museum
Dan would
is
love to
killing
do
it.
that with you. I took him there for
Okay, a lot of what we talk about on this channel is not going to be EV specific. Although we have an Ioniq5, so there will be the Hyundai Ioniq5 will be referenced sometimes, but we'll be talking about EVs in general, because the whole purpose of this channel is to make sure that older people especially, but all people in general, realize that it is possible to road trip EVs. So with that in mind, we'll talk about highway driver assistance right now. And because electric vehicles are so expensive, we find that, and most of that expense is actually in the batteries. Other than that, it's not more expensive than a regular vehicle, but the batteries themselves cost a lot. So in order to justify to a lot of buyers the expense of an electric vehicle, manufacturers throw in a lot of technology. And the reason they do that is because technology is generally pretty cheap, or inexpensive, perhaps is a better word, and so it doesn't cost much to put it in. It adds value to the car. One of the things that is really easy to put in is highway driver assistance. This comes at different levels. Highway driver's assistance 1 is a certain level. Highway driver's assistant 2 adds a little more, and so on. It goes up to level 5. So in our car, we have highway driver assistance 2. And what highway driver assistance 2 means is that once I establish my car in a lane and turn it on, it will remain in the lane even if the lane curves, and it will also maintain the distance to the vehicle in front of me. So if the vehicle in front of me jams on the brakes, my car will only approach so close before it will jam on the brakes. Also, it will prevent me hopefully from running over a pedestrian or backing into another vehicle. There's quite a few different things. Also side assistance. Now, with the highway driver assistant 2 lane assist in our car, you have to maintain your hands on the wheel, and it checks that by wiggling the wheel to see if it's got any resistance from your hands. Some vehicles like the Mach-E Mustang Mach-E from Ford, in there they have a thing called Blue Cruise. They actually monitor your eyes, so it is possible to have total hands-free driving on certain already mapped freeways. And then we'll go, and there's the Ocean Shores sign Carol's pointing to right there. Oh look, they've got one of those signs that shows your speed. Oh, we're going 25. Speed up to go that fast. We're going to be eating here at Bennett's Fish Shack in Ocean Shores today, and Carol will be joining me along with Regie, and apparently we have to go around to the other side of the thing.
Here's that for you. A crab melt sandwich.
Oh, that already had fries.
And a side of fries.
Right in the middle.
Here's that
Oh, I
for
guess you
you.
didn't get
Oh,
it.
that's the
And
half
then a
sandwich.
codfish and chips.
Right there.
Here's that for you.
Thank
And-
you.
And is there anything else I can get for you
Yes,
guys
does
today?
anybody want tartar sauce?
I have
For me.
Oh, she has one. Can we get another one?
Another one?
Yes,
Of course,
this one.
I'll be back
Does
for
that
that.
cost or?
I don't
No
know.
worries, I'll be back.
Somehow
Thank
this
you.
doesn't.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Somehow this doesn't look like enough food. It looks like Reggie's gonna be taking home some
I know. We're
No.
gonna be starving.
fries for dinner.
Ready?
Mine.
Okay, Carol. Well, Reggie's in taking care of some personal business. How would you rate the Bennett Seafood Shack,
I would give it a
Fish Shack? Bennett
I would give it an okay. We had a good lunch, but if you go, I would have the cotton chips.
I would say the food was good, not great, but good enough, and there was a lot of it. Everything was a lot of food, but also it was a little bit on the expensive side for the three of us. It was
110 with tip.
110. So
That's a lot.
for a
for
small
fast
for a
food.
small town like this, a little bit too much, a little bit too expensive. Welcome to beautiful Ocean Shores, Washington. We can drive on the beach. That's good.
It's like the whole dusting my shoes down.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's chilly out there. talk about charging for a minute. I got sidetracked when we stopped to charge, which gave me a result that wasn't optimal for our charging session. When I pulled in, there was another Hyundai Ioniq5 there, and he was experiencing some slow charge levels, so I stopped to help him assess the situation. And so I didn't really get a great charging. We got a good charging session, but we weren't able to record it, so sorry about that. In regards to charging, I think we need to talk about a few things. For your battery to charge at the optimum level, it needs to be a certain temperature, and preferably that temperature is somewhere close to the same temperature as your body, somewhere around 98 to a little over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And some cars have the ability to heat or cool their batteries just prior to the charging session. It's called preconditioning, and the company that's really good at that is Tesla. If you put in a charging station, you're navigating to it, the car will automatically precondition your batteries to get to the maximum temperature, the maximum optimal temperature for charging those batteries. I think Porsche Taycan will do that as well. There are no other cars at this point that are capable of doing that. I do know that this car, the Hyundai Ioniq5, has all the ingredients necessary to make that happen. I think Hyundai is just working on the software to turn it on. So, and I'm not sure all Hyundai Ioniq5s have, at least here in the United States, have the ability to do that. It depends a lot upon whether you have the heat pump, which only comes with the all-wheel drive cars in the Hyundai. So it's possible that a rear-wheel drive car might not do that. Now, don't hold me to that because I'm not really completely familiar with it, but that's the way it sounds to me. If I'm wrong, please comment in the comments below. At any rate, we pulled into that charging session with a relatively warm battery. It wasn't too cold out, it was about 50 degrees. We had done highway driving earlier in the morning for a long distance. We were running in normal mode all the way. We had the heat cranked. All these things take energy from the battery. Yeah, my wife does not like to be cold, so we're generally running at around 72, 73 degrees inside the cabin here. And we don't really worry about whether we're using a lot of energy because, her priority for getting an electric car was she wanted to be able to stay warm. So that's where we are with that. So anyways, we near the end of our trip. We have to travel through Seattle after dark, or at least at dusk. It's a beautiful city. The freeway goes, for the most part, goes right through downtown. And then we cross a bridge over the ship canal, and then we're going to exit on 45th in the University District, which is full of a lot of little restaurants and bars, and Dick's Drive-In, which is a favorite Seattle spot where you can get inexpensive hamburgers. It's been there forever. I feel like it's relatively healthy, and one of the things I really like about it is in order to keep employees, it treats them really well. It has a scholarship program if they want to go to college. It has full health care. It still maintains good quality hamburgers. Not a lot of variety. You get one from column A, one from column B, but they're really good. So that kind of wraps it up for this trip. Join us on our next trip, which will probably be a trip from Seattle over to Yakima, over the top of the Cascade Mountains, coming up here in a few days. So that should be our next trip. Other than that, thanks for joining us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and ring that bell just in case you want to be notified when our next video is up. and have a great week.